Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. As always, Ted kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Man, they've had a lot going on. Couldn't even play the game in their own place. I'm going with the Rams. Um, they got to host their playoff game in Arizona because of the wildfires, which, has been that whole situation is insane. I love the stuff that they're doing to get involved with the community and help out there. But to put all of that aside, go to Arizona. They whipped the Vikings. That game wasn't even close from the get go. Jumped on them early and 24-3 at halftime. Stafford, the experience at quarterback really showed. Playoff experience matters.
Didn't make any critical mistakes. Thought that once they got the lead, thought McVay did a nice job of. I don't think they were super conservative, but I thought they were measured in their offensive approach. It kind of felt like they went, hey, we can only mess this up. Their offense isn't doing anything today. Darnold doesn't have it. Let's be smart with what we're doing offensively. Let's just not do anything stupid and we're going to win the football game. And that's exactly what happened. It
Put the
never felt like the Vikings had a chance.
No, they put the pressure on them and got the lead, made the Vikings one dimensional. And what'd you think of Sam Darnold? Took a ton of sacks. Sacked 9 times,
Mm.
had the interception. Did he give up all the ground that he had made this season in the last couple of games?
He definitely lost himself. How many $1 million do you think he lost himself? A lot. What do you think he's still going to get a deal probably similar to Baker's?
That I mean, that's kind of the going rate. He threw for damn near 4,500 yards. I mean,
He was awesome this season
yeah,
until the two most important games,
yeah. Which,
which
hey,
people tend to remember.
they do, but I could point you some quarterbacks out real quick that have been great in the regular season and not in the postseason and make about 50 million a year. But I think you're probably right. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be willing to put all of Darnold's history behind and sign him to some huge mega contract. I think I think something I mean, it's going to be hard to sign any quarterback that's won any football games for less than, 30, $35 million. So I think you're probably right.
Kevin O'Connell most likely going to win Coach of the Year.
It's
I mean, people were talking about trading for him, right? Like that
came out
was
of nowhere too. Yeah.
I know some guys that have played for him, love him, say he's an awesome coach. It's it's always it's a regular season award, but it's always strange when someone that just fizzles out in the playoffs ends up winning one of those awards. There's just this awkward
Yeah,
tension.
whenever wait a minute, they're already done. How is he the coach of the year?
And there was a lot. It felt like one of those situations with the situation with all the fires in LA where it felt like everyone was rooting against the Vikings.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like they could feel that and they played terrible.
Man, it's crazy how it works out sometimes. You can take you've seen a bunch of different situations where a team is thrust into a chaotic situation whenever they're gearing up for something really important. It feels like it's going to have a massive negative impact on the way that they play because of all the distraction. And ultimately, it ends up like really helping the way that they play. Teams come together and play some of their best ball under those conditions. It's kind of cool how that works out.
Things did you see where the Rams said that they were motivated by what Campbell said?
No, I didn't.
So Campbell when the Lions whooped the Vikings last game of the regular season, he was like, "Hey, I'll see you in 2 weeks." To Kevin O'Connell,
Nice.
and he in fact will not see them.
Uh, hey, you got to grab onto whatever you can. I mean, it's kind of interesting in sports how you could take some of the like whatever it is, you can always find a statement, a situation, what a player said, what a coach said. Maybe it's something they said 6 months ago. Maybe it was something they said that week leading up to it. But you grab onto any bit of motivation you can.
Impressive from the Rams,
Big
though.
time.
And I think that makes the NFC playoffs more, it just makes it more interesting with them looking as good as they looked in that game.
Hey, we've always known this about the NFL playoffs. It's not always who was the best team in the regular season. It's because everyone's talented. There's a lot of great players out there. Who gets hot at the right time?
No doubt about it. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Oh, Baker.
Mm.
That was tough to watch, man. That was brutal. Knew it was going to be a difficult game with Jane Daniels and Washington. Speaking of being hot, they were hot coming in, and the turnovers just killed them. Bucs offense, which I think everyone agrees is by quite some margin the better unit for them, offense over defense. They only had 7 possessions in that game. And you factor in a couple of turnovers, and you're handing 2 of those 7 possessions away. It's hard to win a football game.
The center needs to not snap the ball early
That was tough.
in a critical moment. Hard two, man. You can't snap it early on hard two.
I love whenever
Hard
he
two
snaps it.
means
The
hard
count,
two
like,
means it's not hot, it's hot. And you can't snap it on the first one. What are we doing?
no, it's. I love whenever you see that happen. The quarterback has the ball in his hands, and there's like a delay that feels like seconds before he actually is like, "Oh my gosh, I have the football. I shouldn't have it right now. I got it. Hot potato."
You just see the panic in Baker's eyes.
I mean, I
That's
was
just,
worried.
I mean,
He
the
handed it
fumble
off,
was.
and the running back never secured it. He's waving the ball around out here like this. I'm like screaming at the TV, "Put that thing away, man."
It was it was a tough loss for the Bucs. Now, credit to Jaden Daniels. That guy, it feels like he's just changed that entire franchise in his rookie season and how everyone feels about it. I mean, it's Dan Quinn he's brought the vibes, and it just feels, I mean, it feels like a completely different organization ever since Snyder sold the thing.
And you know how it goes. Like in that facility, they're talking about Super Bowl, right? They're talking about winning. We're going the whole way, obviously week by week, but this is the thing. This is the problem going in. Like you made the playoffs, you won a playoff game. Like it's like house money now. The season is a win. No matter what happens from this point on, this year was a success, which is really incredible for a rookie quarterback to go in and do that. It's rare. You don't see it a whole heck of a lot. It's happened, but no, not a whole lot of instances. How do you feel about Washington moving forward?
I I think their run comes to an end against Detroit.
Detroit they're just so good. Such a balanced football team. They got the right mentality. They are banged up. It sounds like Montgomery's going to play, which, is going to help them out quite a bit. But Lions, isn't it weird? It's like all of a sudden Lions are like the stable NFC team.
They're a 9.5 point favorite in that game.
Just 15-2, no big deal. Just like they've always been, a dominant football team.
That was the Commanders' first playoff win since 2006. Is that right?
Man,
Is
I
there
know
both?
RG3 made the playoffs his rookie year. I couldn't remember if they won or lost.
January 7th, 2006. Hadn't won in the postseason since January 7th, 2006.
I remember playing that. I played against that Washington team that year. They were solid.
Jaden Daniels is really good, really fun. Very much looking forward to his future in the
Probably going to get
NFL.
Kingsbury a head coaching job.
Just might, but Baker was so good this season. I hate that it ended with some of those. Well, that fumble is just how many times is he going to replay that in his head? That's brutal. I feel for our
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, man. Turnovers are always difficult, and as you would expect, he handled it the right way, and he's going to shoulder that burden. But still a fun year for the Bucs, but that one's going to hurt. I mean, I don't know that anyone thought that Tampa Bay was a Super Bowl capable team, but they should have won that football game at home.
Pain. Just been that type of season for OU fans.
I
Pain.
know it. I know it. What's our rooting interest moving forward? I
Just
mean,
root
Mixon
for.
had a great game. I mean, he was fantastic for the Texans. They play the Chiefs.
I will be rooting for the Lions
Mm-hmm.
and the Bills because those are the only two teams left that employed me. I will also be rooting for the Eagles because of Lane. But I
How good did
usually
Baltimore look?
oh my gosh. Did you see they're now a favorite on the road in Buffalo?
I I can't imagine. Uh, that's how I see it. Now, it'll be a factor, weather and everything, but the way that team is set up with their running game, with what they got going at quarterback, I mean, that was some of the most impressive quarterbacking I've seen in like just a handful of plays, stepping up in the pocket, some of the runs, some of the throws just to me, they look like the best team in the NFL by a margin.
That stadium in Buffalo, Orchard Park, technically, it's gonna be insane.
Yep. I like
Gonna
it.
be
That's what we
awesome.
want. That's what we want.
Gonna be awesome. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
Lucy Breakers are 100% pure nicotine pouches with an extra burst of flavor, and you can get them delivered right to your front door. Go to lucy.co, use promo code breakdown at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's lucy.co and use promo code breakdown. My go to Lucy Breakers are the 8 milligram espresso, perfect for a long drive, or you can put one in watching a game at the house. Lucy Breakers come in a variety of flavors, including classics like mint. They also got the berry citrus, espresso, and mango. You can even set up a subscription to make things even more convenient. Level up your nicotine routine with lucy.co. Go to lucy.co and use promo code breakdown for 20% off your first order. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
and we are brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. This week, I'm looking at the football board and selecting Will Howard less than 247 and a half passing yards, and Mitch Jeter. Yeah, I'm going kicker, people. Mitch Jeter more than 5.5 kicking points.
Ooh, okay.
Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your pick hits, you can get your money as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. For my winner of the week, thought about going with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they handled business against two bad teams. Now, Washington is awful. 76ers are just really, really banged up. Just kind of unfortunate watching that team where they're at from an injury standpoint. But Thunder are now 33-6 with a big one at Paycom on Thursday night. Can't wait to go watch Thunder Cavs. I'm so
That's
excited.
going to be awesome. That's going to be a huge environment. That's Loud City's going to be affecting that one.
They got us last week. Time to repay the favor.
Redemption.
redemption. But my winner of the week, and I've been very tough on this guy. And it's mainly because he has refused to utilize the transfer portal to improve his roster. But Dabo Swinney is my winner of the week. By the way, they've taken a couple of transfers this cycle. How about that? Look at
Quietly. Yeah.
Dabo. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But the reason he's my winner of the week is not it's got nothing to do with the portal. He went and poached Tom Allen from Penn State.
Big time.
That is Tom Allen is very, very well respected as a defensive coordinator in college football. Now, ESPN reported that it had something to do with Tom Allen's kids living in the Carolinas and he wanted to be closer to them, which I really, really respect. But still, it's not easy to get a coordinator to leave a team that just played in the college football playoff semifinal. It's not easy, especially a Big Ten job. It's not
Right.
easy. Tom Allen has been a Big Ten guy, you know? That's impressive, and I think it has a lot to do with the culture that Dabo Swinney's built at Clemson. Remember, Tom Allen's whole thing at Indiana when he was the head coach was LEO, love each other. That fits pretty damn well with what Dabo does there at Clemson. Ted, it seems like this had a family element to it, but also, for lack of a better term, I think Tom Allen's vibes just match up with Dabo's vibes, and that's why they just landed a top tier defensive coordinator.
Yeah. And Dabo's taking his lumps. He's taking his lumps from the national media with how he runs the team, with his own fan base. Once you set that level of expectation and things turn south a little bit on you, you're going to get some heat. But in the coaching world, he has a really, really good reputation. Coaches want to go coach for Dabo, right? The way he runs his operation, there's coaches have a lot of respect for the way he does it. And you're right. A lot of the vibes match up there. And, I think that is a place, which, by the way, Clemson is a beautiful place. They got a lot of really good things going for them. They're in a good recruiting spot. Clearly you can win there. Dabo's put out some very impressive teams, but I think it's a little underrepresented what his reputation is in the coaching world.
Garrett Riley and Tom Allen as your coordinators. Solid.
Yep.
Now, Tom Allen, he's going to come in. He's got to fix that Clemson run defense.
Whew. Yeah.
Texas is still running, brother.
I'd say they got the right guy. I mean, you can throw a lot of haymakers towards Penn State and some of their shortcomings and big games and all of that. But one thing they do well, they play defense, they play good on the line of scrimmage, and they stop the run.
It just feels like a good fit. Feels like Tom Allen.
Yeah.
If he's not going to be a head coach, he belongs as the defensive coordinator at Clemson.
And if I remember right, I don't have it in front of me, but I think Clemson just signed a really nice recruiting class. And
They got a bunch of key pieces back on defense as well. Like
Yep.
they don't have a bunch of slappies at Clemson.
That's right.
That has not been they just haven't filled some of those holes that they've need to fill via the portal. They're starting to do it. Like they got a big time edge guy, one of the top edge guys out of the portal is going to Clemson. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tom Allen can improve that defense. It's not like the defense was god awful. That's just not true. But it wasn't up to the standard that Venables set when he was there. And I assume Dabo wants Tom Allen to come in and get it back to that level.
Yep. You
And
could
Penn State's
tell.
defense was legit.
Yep. You could tell that, the ACC, whatever, it wasn't a great year for the ACC as far as top end teams. Clemson, ended up getting it done, but you could tell, like, they benefited from playing in the ACC, and whenever they got to the playoff, they were outmatched, and like that has not been what it was like previous. They would rip through the ACC, and then on the big stage against the best teams in the country, they would dominate them defensively. And in order for them to be competitive, have a chance for a championship, they got to get back there. You look at the teams still playing: Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas. Those were like, that's the who's who of the top 10 in defensive standings.
Yep. My loser of the week, the spring transfer portal. Dead?
I don't know.
AFCA Coaches Convention just happened in Charlotte, and Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger reported that the AFCA head coaches are unanimously supporting a proposal to move the transfer portal window to a 10-day window in January, which I believe would be January 2nd to 12th, and eliminating the spring transfer portal window for everyone except for graduate transfers. He also added that Craig Bowl, the head of the AFCA, said the proposed transfer portal move will now go to the Football Oversight Committee and will have to be approved by the D1 Council eventually if this is going to become the new system. 10-day window essentially after bowl games, and then no spring window. Ted, what do you think?
I like it. I mean, this kind of goes back to my point that, I feel like almost everyone, I mean, this was unanimous, but almost everyone is in agreement that, okay, what we've done here is a mess, right? And we've got to find a way to clean it up some. That what happens in December currently is a what show. You've got early signing period for recruits. You've got transfer portal. You've got coaches trying to prepare for bowl games or playoffs or conference championships. It all happens at one time. It's too much. It's ridiculous. It would be like NFL doing the draft and free agency, during the NFL playoffs, which of course they wouldn't do that. That's stupid. So I like this, that they're moving that window back. Now, one of the hopes is that you have less opt-outs for bowl games and guys finish the season and finish their bowl game with their current teams. Maybe that helps. I kind of feel like guys have made up their mind that they're going to jump in the portal, and they may still opt out and just jump in the portal whenever the window opens after the bowl game. But I imagine at least some guys will finish the season when they wouldn't have previously.
My prediction is this is going to get lawyered to death and won't happen. Because like the spring window, and I thought a lot about it. I'm actually not a fan of them eliminating the spring window.
I would be in favor of them moving the 10-day window until after spring.
I think that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Because spring ball, a lot of guys go into spring ball thinking that they are going to be a key contributor. And then it is clear once spring practice takes place that you have been passed up. Like that happens on every college football team. And a lot of guys just want to play. I know that the NIL, the way that this sport has worked the last couple of years, we've all just been conditioned to think these guys are only moving to make more money. And there's some truth in that. A lot of guys are doing it for the money, but some guys enter the portal because they just want to get on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, after spring ball, that's when that can become very clear to a player. So I just think that if you try to say, hey, there's no spring window, some guy's going to jump into the transfer portal and sue and say, you're restricting my wages. I'm not an employee. And like, we're going to do this whole song and dance. Again, I think a player will challenge it in court. And from what the Supreme Court told us, if they challenge it in court, they're probably going to win.
Yeah.
Or they will win. I feel confident that they will win. But I just, the 10-day window, you have to let guys go on visits before that 10-day window is open. Because 10 days, in my opinion, is just not enough time for these guys to make a decision this important, where they got to go and visit these different schools and then get with their family. And yes, there's the NIL piece, that whole thing. But I mean, that's a really small window for guys to make a big decision. So I think I think you're going to have to let guys announce that they're going to enter the portal and then start taking visits
Well,
before that window is open. I think that's a fair thing to do.
that's why I would be in favor of moving it to post spring, because the problem with the portal window where it sits now is getting guys enrolled in school, right? You have to take visits, you have to, look around, decide where you want to go, and then there's like a mad scramble to make sure everyone's enrolled and get all of, there's a process to it. I That's why I think the post spring would make the most sense. You're not under the gun for enrollment like you are in the December January window. And I would also I would offer the converse side to what you talked about, where guys want to get on the field. There may be a player who wanted to jump in the transfer portal because he didn't think he's going to be able to get on the field, and you have a good offseason and you have a really good spring and you find yourself as a starter. Those things happen. Guys win jobs in the spring. So I don't know. We'll see. I do think it's a positive sign moving forward that you're trying to clean up some of the calendar to make it where it makes more sense. But I'm kind of with you. I think it'll probably clear, and that'll be the new system for the time being until that is challenged in court.
We talked about the changes they're trying to make to how NIL functions with the revenue sharing, trying to clean up the roster management chaos, roster retention chaos by adjusting the portal windows. Like, there's clearly some effort being made to try to fix this chaotic system that is college football now, which is encouraging. But I've got a lot of doubts that this is going to go smoothly.
Until it's collectively bargained. My hope is that we get to a point where you can only transfer after you graduate, and if you do want to jump in the transfer portal window, we go back to where you have to sit a year. That seems like light years away, and I don't even know that that would be what coaches want. I think it would be what coaches want, but you have to be able to have some type of security with locking players in. And, whenever the massive pay for play NIL contracts maybe aren't going to be as common under the new system, maybe you eliminate a lot of the transfer portal just through that. But I don't know. I may be on an island there where I want guys to go and play their entire career at a place. Maybe some people think that's not fair, but that's what I'd like to see.